Wendi McLendon-Covey stars in St. Denis Medical. I'm David Buchanan with Gold Derby. Wendi, I wanted to start by asking you, I know that this script came to you pretty close to the end of the Goldbergs, not a time between one television series and another. How did you know? Did you just have a gut instinct that this was the right project to do next?
Yeah, if you're talking about when I got the script, it was like 4 hours after we were canceled, and that's no joke. I just thought, well, I'm going to read it. Of course, I'm going to read it, but I'm not saying I want to do anything. You know, I mean, I did want to do something. Believe me, I'm much better as a human being if I have structure to my days and something to do. But I got the script and I was like, I don't know. And then I read Joyce, and she was such an oddball and reminded me of so many women supervisors that I had working other jobs before this whole acting thing came about. And I thought, oh, I can do this. I can do this. You know what? Let me think about it a little more, but I'm probably going to do it because it's just a pilot. You know, it might not even go. And then it became very clear that there were not going to be a lot of pilots made that year. And I think there were 4 across all of broadcast television. And yeah, I was still on my farewell tour of, you know, saying goodbye to the Goldbergs when we filmed the pilot. And I was like, this feels wrong. This feels wrong. I'm cheating on my family. But I was very happy with the way it worked out. And then that we got picked up, it was like, oh, okay, great. And then we didn't work again for a year because of the strike. So, you know, I got the best of all worlds. I got time off and I got a cool new show, and I'm really glad it worked out the way it did.
Was there a moment either after shooting the pilot, when you were seeing those next scripts, like was there a moment when you knew that St. Denis was going to be special?
Well, I guess I figured that out when we got picked up pretty quickly after doing the pilot. And then we started selling overseas just based on the pilot. We started selling really well. And I thought, oh, well, this could be something. Who knows? I mean, we're in such uncertain times, but gosh, it feels funny. It feels like this is a show that, you know, is ripe for being copied in other places, you know? And the cast is pretty damn good, I have to say. So it felt like, okay, this could be something. I don't know. Again, we were all cautiously optimistic just because of times being what they are, you know. But yeah, when I was getting unsolicited comments from executives about how funny the show was, or things were being passed down through my reps, I was like, well, I've never encountered this before. That's, you know, people have a lot of good things to say and we're not asking. So believe me, they don't have to tell you anything. So I don't know. I felt pretty good about it, and I felt good about just watching the way all these other actors worked. I was like, okay, there's something about this combination that has a little bit of fairy dust on it. So maybe this will be a success. God, I hope that made sense.
Oh, totally. And you mentioned too, the ensemble is so spectacular, yourself included. Allison Tolman, David Alan Grier, so many folks that maybe are being introduced to the audience for the first time in a major role. How much fun are you having doing this show? And are they just surprising you week to week with what they bring to the characters? Because I feel like we're always learning more, and they're always bringing so much unique, top spin to this material.
Oh my God. Every time I get to work with, well, first of all, Allison Tolman, we know she's amazing. David Alan Grier, we know he's amazing. Okay. They've got proven track records. The other cast members, I wasn't that familiar with their work, but when I watch Mecky Leeper, dear God, just take me out, turn the cameras off me. Just don't, because I'm laughing my head off. Same with Josh Lawson. Same with Kaliko, who can level me with one line delivery per episode. Like, She knows how to get in, say her thing, steal all the focus, and get out, you know. And Kai, I'm so impressed with her because like she learned English from watching television, you know, in her 20s. Like she's fantastic. I just love watching them. And then one of our nurses, one of our recurring nurses, played by David Thune, people just salivate over him. They want more, more, more. So I hope we give them that next season. But yeah, it's been incredible to like watch how other people put their little twists on lines and you think, oh, that's brilliant. I never would have said it that way, but it makes so much sense. Or particularly Mecki, who's so great with physical comedy. And of course, we all saw that on Jury Duty, which was brilliant. No, it's just an honor. It's just an honor to work with these people and watch them. And I hope that it isn't obvious when you watch the show that I'm watching them like this.
You mentioned Joyce as an oddball, and it really she jumped off the page at you when you read that first script. And I think it's such a unique and interesting character because she's incompetent in ways that, you know, we come to love our mockumentary characters to be, but she's also really competent at the job too. She's very, I think her heart's always in the right place. She's trying to accomplish really noble goals.
Yeah.
What about that kind of mix of who Joyce is and the way you kind of have to thread that needle is most appealing to you as a performer?
Well, you know, the thing is that she's not an idiot. She's an accomplished woman who is a doctor. And in my mind, they've never said this, but in my mind, she became an administrator because she got tired of being told how to practice medicine. I think that's a very real thing. Well, in fact, I know it is. We've heard this from physicians of like, don't second guess me, insurance companies. This is what I went to school for. This patient is right in front of me, and this is what I think should happen. Don't censor me. I think she got sick of that and said, fine, I've had it. I'm going to make change from the inside. I'm going to run this hospital. Right. Like that's easy. All you do is beg for money all day. So she's gone from healing people to kind of being in sales. And she's not good at that. A lot of people aren't, but they find themselves in these positions where, wait, you're terrible with people, but now you have to engage with the public all the time. And what are you going to do? Switch jobs? Not at your age. You haven't even paid off your student loans yet in your 50s. So I think that's the predicament she finds herself in. And I used to work at this terrible little hotel near Disneyland, okay? And we were saddled with the task of trying to make this thing a destination property when it was a trucker hotel. So I understand that predicament of, hey, we're in rural Oregon. We need people to come out here. You know what? I'm going to make it a destination medical property. People are going to Turkey right now. Forget it. Forget it. You're going to come here to rural Oregon. We have chipmunks, you guys. Like it's impossible. But in her mind, she's set this goal for herself and she's going to go after it. And it makes her very tough to be around. And anybody that's saddled with the task of like trying to cut costs, you're in a losing position. No one's going to like you. Anyway, that's the delicious line that she walks, and it's really fun to play. Although I don't want to do it in real life.
Something you're touching on that is really resonant about the show is it is really hysterically funny, but it's also grappling with real challenges, medical and otherwise. And I love that the tone of the show sometimes goes very dramatic, like on the turn of a dime. And I'm thinking of one of your standout episodes, which is Joyce and the mammogram. And, you know, very funny. Those costumes are hilarious. And then, you know, we actually watch you and Joyce kind of experience, you know, something frightening medically. Wow. I love the chance that you and the other performers get to, you know, walk that line and do drama. How gratifying is that for you to get to do sometimes where you're, you know, sometimes doing these outlandish, you know, physical comedic bits, and then, you know, you do get to tap into real human, you know, emotion too.
Yeah, that's been such a fun thing about the show, is that, you know, we're just playing the reality of working in a hospital. And that's the thing. Things turn on a dime. And, you know, sometimes you're the ones getting the bad news. And that mammogram thing, that happened to me a year ago of, you know, I had my mammogram and then it was like, well, we're not really sure. We think we see something. So we recommend that you come in for a biopsy. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this isn't real. This isn't real. You're just trying to bill my insurance. And I still think that's what it was. It ended up not being anything. And they put a marker in my boobie. And that thing has bugged me ever since. It itches. And my best friend went through it. My mother went through it, all at the same place. And it's like, so wait a minute, hold on. If you're saying the ultrasound is inconclusive, why are we doing it? Because they can't get you to come back otherwise. So I told them that in the writer's room, and that might be part of the reason we did that. And also, mammograms suck. It is like a panini press. You can't really, this is the best we can do for women. It's humiliating. It hurts. I don't know. I've got a whole sermon I can preach on breast health, David, but I'm not going to put you through it today.
I'm very sorry to hear that, you know, you had to live through that, but it yielded a very good episode of television. A really, like I said, a funny but also important and moving, you know, piece. You get a lot of, I mean, there's so many standout episodes we could talk about, but two of the ones of yours that I love the most, when you're choosing an executor and the farmer rep, and you're not quite sure, you know, how friendly, are you friends or not? I love those two episodes, and I love that you get to share a lot of those stories with Dr. Ron, played by David Alan Grier. And I love the relationship between you two characters. I think that has really come to stand out to me as one of the hallmarks of the show. I know you kind of both came up together as doctors, you know, around the same time. Which thought did you give to the backstory of, like, why, even though they don't really see eye to eye on a lot of things, there's mutual respect there, and there's a deep kind of affinity. You know, did you and David kind of talk about what's going on, you know, beneath the surface with these two?
We haven't really talked about it that much. We just sort of kind of had a meeting of the minds, you know, and sort of started playing it the same way. And I think, I really hope anyway, that in season 2, we're going to explore that. I don't know that we're the kind of show that does a lot of flashbacks, you know, but I would like to see them working as residents together back in the 90s, because apparently they did. So in our minds, they're kind of like brother and sister at this point. Like, I know you asshole, you know, like they can rib each other, but at the end of the day, they do have each other's backs. Like we see in the gala episode where, you know, Ron and Joyce are ribbing each other the whole time, but at the end, when it comes time to ask for donations, Ron steps up to the plate and is like, well, you know what? She really does have some good ideas, so you should listen to her. I think that's worth exploring. And did they have a romance? I don't know. I don't know, David. Maybe they did. I guess we'll find out. Or maybe that would complicate things and be stupid, but I don't know. I do want to see what they A, looked like in the 90s, and B, how that worked out when they were, you know, working 18-hour shifts together.
When I spoke to David, he had the same thought. He wants a flashback. He wants to see if Joyce is a worse administrator or physician. So I agree. I think there's really something to this idea. So many episodes, Wendi, such great material for you in this first season. Everything with Sanderson. I love the fundraiser episode. I love getting to see you, maybe, I don't know how much of that was totally scripted and you stuck to it, or you got to, you know, lean on your improv credentials a little bit in that episode. But what are your favorite kind of moments and scenes from that excellent first season of St. Denis?
Ooh, I love it when, first of all, I loved our big episodes, like when we did a show for the pediatrics unit, and then, the gala episode, because I did attend a hospital gala where they had a dance competition, and I told them about that, and it was so fun. It was amazing. But yeah, the bigger episodes where there's just chaos going on behind the scenes and Joyce has to pretend like there isn't any chaos. Listen, we've all done that. We've all had to do that for some reason. Maybe, obviously not in a medical setting, but I do think it makes a fun workplace episode. And then one of my favorites, though, was our Christmas episode when Joyce is like, well, we need to go viral. First of all, I watch a lot of TikTok, okay? And I am always amazed when I see people in scrubs dancing around. Like, look at you doing that in a hospital while people are dying. But I find that so interesting that they do that. So for Joyce to get a bug up her butt about it's Christmas Eve and we've got to go viral now, and going around to little kids and like, okay, you're really boring me, kid. Do you have anything else you could say? Oh, can you hear for the first time, a second time for the cameras? Like, the absurdity of Joyce just getting a goal in her mind and trying to reach it. She's really got tunnel vision, and I like that in a character.